Hello, amazing Smurfs. Yeah. All right. So, guys, I'm having fun with this channel and I'm having fun with you guys. So I hope you are as well. So today we are going to talk about and explore inner conversations. Okay. But I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach to this so that we can kind of really get to the root of why Neville says this is a big deal and you need to be more actively guiding your inner conversations, okay? So I'm going to ask you a question, and please share below. This is fun for me to actually hear from you guys. So, have you ever had like a conversation? And it could be with a family member, a cousin, a stranger, a homeless guy. One of my best ones was with a homeless guy, and I'm going to share that. But, have you ever had a good conversation where you've walked away and you're like, I think I got a really good piece of information from this interaction. Like not just that you felt it was a cool conversation, but something might have changed in you. Like something might have been like, oh, I never thought about it that way. And I think I'm going to apply this now. Right. So this is for me fundamentally what inner conversations are. If you're just sitting there affirming quietly, by the way, I'm not against affirming and I'm not against robotic affirming. I'm not against it. Neuroscience shows that both of those work and they work well. So I'm not against it. But I am for a certain type of affirmation, right? And so is Neville. Neville was never against it, right? All of this stuff about Neville being against affirmations is really just misinformation. He just talks about it differently. But what I want to do is I want you to frame like that as an inner conversation, meaning inner conversations are meant to change me, right? I'm meant to walk away from an inner conversation as the new being, as the new person, okay? So again, we're using language, and I'm very big on language. I'm very passionate about linguistics. I used to, speak on the academic circuits and, going to academic conferences on linguistics and identity and so on. And so one of the things that we need to realize is that every inner conversation should be from the end, okay? And I know I'm using jargon, and I'm actually trying to also reach those that are not just Neville oriented. I love Neville, and he'll probably be my lifelong buddy. But for the sake of trying to use this, I want this to be practical for like everybody, okay? And so what I want to get at is the importance that everything should be from the end. So what does that mean? So end means, what's the end goal? What are you going to feel like? Who are you going to be? How would you walk in the world? How would you see things? If it's food related, how would it taste? If it's drink related, how would that drink go down, right? If it's SP related, how would you feel in the arms of the other person? Whatever that is, it's the end, okay? Right? So my point to you is that if the inner conversation isn't in the end, right? If it's not at the end of the wish fulfilled, right? And it's still pining or wanting or desiring or from pain or from loss or from fear, right? That's not living in the end. That is not inner conversations. And I will give you examples as well, right? But conversations can have a powerful impact. And so Neville tells the story of someone who might have been, we don't know, maybe his wife, one of his wives. And so the story goes that she was having trouble with one of her bosses, right? And so basically what he had asked her was like, well, what are your inner conversations, right? And I'm giving you the overview of the story. And in that conversation, what ends up ensuing is Neville gives her advice that she needs to change and alter the inner conversation about how she is talking to her boss, because she would go in with like, okay, we're going to get into a fight, and she'd have these inner kind of like dialogues with the boss, thinking that this is how it's going to play out. So in one sense, yes, what you expect is what you're going to experience. That's definitely like point one of this, okay? So your inner conversations do influence you. They do impact you. You can manifest from them. And you can manifest from them alone without any aid, right? Because think about that. I mean, you're creating rules about relationships in your head, right? Whether that's your relationship towards nature, your relationship towards a car, your relationship towards a person, whatever it is, inner conversations are about your relationship with fill in the blank, right? So you want to have inner conversations from the end. So let's talk about that. Okay, let's say you want a successful business, but your current inner conversations are like, well, the market's too saturated. Oh, it's going to take at least a year because everybody else says it takes that long. Or, right? So again, by the way, every thought is loaded by 3 or 4 different beliefs. There's never one belief that is actually fueling any one thought, right? And so that's why if you've looked at my self-concept video, which you should, I break it down more psychologically and also how to change it, because people really struggle with that because they're like, well, I manifested this and then I lost it. Well, that's probably why. So definitely go check out the self-concept video and breakdown. But you need a strong self-concept, and then the self-concept will also feed the inner conversation. So that's what it means when it says that, these two need to be in agreement in scripture. It's talking about these two things. Your inner conversation needs to match your visualization and so on and so forth. But I don't want to get into that too much. I got into that in the first video. So inner conversations are just that. You are building out conversations. So let's say you want health, okay? And you're like, okay, I have a vibrant body. My body's always healthy. My body supports me. I love my body. Whatever it is. Some of these, by the way, and I'm going to be honest with you, some of these might feel weird to you. If you've grown up, let's say, in a traumatic household, one of the first things that you learn to do is to self-protect. Self-protect sometimes also for you might mean I distance myself from my body. So even to say some of these, you might feel foreign to actually even claim these as having any truth. So this might take some time, right? Neville even says that, though false, okay? So that idea of the inner conversation changing everything, of course it can, but it might feel a little bit weird at first, and that's okay. That foreignness will actually leave the more that you do it, the more that you persist, right? The more that you continue in it, okay? So my encouragement to you is write down a list of 10 phrases from the wish fulfilled. Again, business is, I have a successful business no matter what. I always bless my clients no matter who comes in the door. I am a sought after entrepreneurial speaker. Whatever it is that you want, right? You write that from the first person with as much emotion and conviction as you can when you write them down, if you can. That's not going to always be the case. That's fine. It's the dominant feeling of conviction that you want as much as you can. You have to work up to it. That's fine. Work up to it. Don't give yourself a hard time. Okay. So again, keep in mind, inner conversation is really also how are we choosing language? How are we choosing the beliefs? Because every thought has a few beliefs. And I'm going to talk about that and give you examples of how that works in a different video. Okay. But that's an important qualifier because a lot of people think, oh, it's just one belief. No, it's usually 2 or 3 other beliefs propping up that belief, right? And that belief is actually fueling the thought. And so you have to actually do the deep work, right? Of saying, okay, well, this thought is usually showing insecurity. Yeah, where'd that insecurity come from? Oh, okay, so it came from my childhood. Okay, so that came from my childhood because my parents always talked down to me. Oh, I see. Okay, so then that's also kind of a knock-on effect of how I make decisions in my whole life, right? In psychology, it's called a schema. And so you end up creating this map of the world that you live from, and then you experience from, and you manifest from. And so that's what we want to actually begin tweaking, right? And one of the first ports of call is the inner conversations. You have to make sure that you're actively walking through a day. And sometimes it's even fun, by the way, and here's a little technique as well, is just to walk down like a street somewhere and just change the color of something like immediately in your imagination and with your words. Why? Because that'll show you how quick you can actually manifest because you just did it, right? Now, you're going to come in 3D and be like, no, I didn't. It's still like, it's a green trunk a brown trunk. I don't know what trees look like anymore, but it's a green, like leaves and brown trunk, but in your mind, it was like a purple trunk and like yellow leaves or whatever it is, right? But see, that's going to show you like, how much power do I believe in the actual inner self? Because if I just did that, then I should be able to actually just trust it. Right? And so again, these are good little tips to actually just check yourself throughout the day to be like, am I still believing that the imagination is the most powerful thing? Or am I doubting? Like, what's going on here, right? So get really investigative. Okay. So again, inner conversations, what you're saying here matters only from the end goal that you want to be speaking. Okay. So a very simple kind of like psychological way of saying it is you want to be talking from the voice of the future self. Okay. So you want to be active in doing that every day. And even if you're walking down the street, and you're doing what you want to do, be like, wow, this is beautiful. Like I get to do this every day. Like life is amazing, right? Those things actually do matter. And even if you didn't believe in manifestation, neuroscience shows that language contours and shapes our experience of reality. So again, there's more to this, and there's probably a part 3 to this, but be on the lookout for that. Hope this was helpful, because I think inner conversations are actually kind of underappreciated. And I think that we need to bring it back to the like new cool kid on the block. So much love to you all. Be safe in the world. Share with me any insights that you got from this video below. Subscribe if you haven't. Join the private Discord group. And if you're looking for coaching, get in touch. All right. Thanks for listening.